Hello, good morning. You know, a very, very good morning. Done with my run. Now I'll relax for a while I sit and talk. I won't sit, but I'm here in this quiet place. It's a jungle, you know. Nobody comes around, and when you know, when you are in a state of solitude, well, let's just say loneliness. When you are in that state where you are all by yourself, you tend to come to this kind of place more often. You tend to like this kind of place. Even though there was a time when I used to be afraid of going to jungle and all. I don't know why, some supernatural things that I used to believe. But anyways, what my point is, at one point, you start to like those things that you think you wouldn't, and when you are going through a phase of loneliness, it's that phase when you're at your weakest, right? I don't know if it's at or in you, or whatever grammatical mistakes at or that I might make, pardon me, but you're in that state of the weakest point of your life, right? Especially when you're seeing your friends, your family members, all moving ahead with their life, doing good, while you're still stuck figuring out life and yourself. And it's not that it's not that you don't want any change. It's not like that, but I think that's when nothing is happening, nothing right is happening in your life. Well, you see others are making it big in life. That's when you're at your weakest point. But here's the catch, I'm not here to complain about me being lonely. I rather say, loneliness, it's a blessing, rather than a curse. It's a blessing in disguise. For those who can see, for those who can, how do I say it? Can change their perspective, towards loneliness. It's like a solitude. And what happens when a man is in a state of solitude for too many times, is that, a very long time, is that it creates a philosophical mind. I'm not saying he becomes philosopher or something, but the mind tends to change if you take loneliness as a medium of self-improvement, right? Yeah, the mind tends to get changed, the way you think, especially when you're reading books, when you are consuming good content. The mind tends to change, right? So that's what I've noticed, even not just, I'm not saying I'm a fucking philosopher or whatever, but what I'm trying to say is, guys like Miyamoto Musashi, when he was done with his samurai thing, with his fighting, with his combat thing, he went into the mountains and wrote the Book of Five Rings and Dokudo, like him, and every other artist, and I always believe that artist life is a lonely life, I think that's when your mind opens. Obviously, of course, many people, they don't like being, they don't like the idea of being in a state of loneliness. It's scary, and it is. Have I not been scared? I have. When I'm all alone in my room, when my mother or my brother, or forget about friends because I have not met them for years now. When nobody's around, just me and my dogs. Don't I get scared thinking that I might rot up being all alone in this world when the whole purpose of this life is to socialize and to meet new people, right? Do I get scared? I definitely do, but that's where the mind plays the trick, the mind wants you to believe in thinking like this, and once you start thinking like this, then you want to fit in, because I'll tell you one thing, I've always been lonely my whole life. I can vouch for that, I can say that confidently, because even when I had friends, I was lonely. That's what I feel. That's what I've always felt. I've always felt lonely deep down in my heart, and that's how it is. Even when I had friends, I felt alone. Matter of fact, now I don't feel lonely now. Just because I use the word loneliness, that doesn't mean I feel lonely, man. I don't feel lonely. Some days I feel alone. I'm a human after all. I want to go and call my friends. But I got to remember that, understand that, that at one point, everybody's going to be busy, every fucking body is going to be busy. And, now we are not teenagers or in our early 20s anymore. Now, me and my friends and my brothers and my sisters, everybody is in their late 20s or in the early 30s, where responsibility comes. Many of them has the family, so I gotta understand the fact as well, because see, the mind plays, the psychological way of how the mind plays is like it tries to make you focus on the negative stuff, right? That, okay, you see a progress in your friends, and now you're just sitting in your room playing guitar or working out. Yes, you're doing that, but the other free time, when you're just sitting idly and thinking about your treacherous life, how it's gonna be, especially when you're in the 30s and nothing's working out. Your mind, like I said, you're in a weaker state of mind, right? That time, your mind is like a sponge. That's what I've always believed, and it's very gullible at that time to, consume negativity all around you. So your mind tends to make you focus on things, onto the evil things, right? Evil things. And that's what you gotta understand. That's what I say, loneliness might be a curse for many, but for me, for me, or not just for me, but for others who looks at it into different perspective, it might be a blessing. Now it's time to, reevaluate yourself. Now it's time to understand yourself. And of course, I'm not saying I have mastered myself. I'm nothing close to mastering myself, man. I make lots of mistakes, but for this much I have understood that everybody's busy in their life, and there should be everybody, especially men and women who are in that age when they should take responsibility. If you have a family, if you have a mother and a father to feed, if your family is poor, if your family is rich, doesn't matter. At one point you should not even have a fucking huge amount of friends and best friends, right? At one fucking point, I think three good friends is far better than 30 friends, right? 10 friends. So at one point, you're not gonna be, everybody, not just me, every fucking body is gonna be friendless, and that's how it's supposed to be. That's what I feel, right? You're not even supposed to go and try and make friends. Networking is different, for business purpose. Networking is different, but trying to make friends because you feel alone. I feel alone every fucking time. Right now as well, I wish I had a friend to fucking train, And I think my training session would have been great. But you know what? That's okay if I don't. like I said, that's fucking okay, because I've learned. No matter how hard it is, I've learned in this. Like I've said, I've always been alone my whole life, and this is not a fucking complaint. This is just a story that I want to speak about, or whatever you can say. But anyways, yeah. So loneliness. At one point, you're gonna be lonely. Everybody, not just me. Maybe all, the guys, the man and a woman of my age, they're in the stage. Someone might feel cursed in their life. Why am I lonely? I want friends, and that's okay. We all want friends. We all want to be around people. But if only we understood that, let's take this as a blessing. Let's take this as an opportunity to learn about ourselves. Because, like I said, I'm nowhere to be nowhere. I'm nowhere to master myself. Like, I make lots of mistakes, definitely. But I tell you one thing: every mistake I make. See, I'm no god, right? I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't fuck around. I'm a disciplined man, but that doesn't mean I'm a perfect human specimen, right? I make lots of mistakes. At the end of the day, who am I? I'm just a mere, human being, who's fighting every fucking day within himself, within the mind of himself, so I'm just learning every day in life and living and trying to progress bits by bits. So that's how I have taken loneliness as, because there was a point when I tried to fit in with wrong people in life, and I gained nothing but insecurity, right? But no, like I said, this time is different. This time I don't know. Right now, I don't want many friends around me, but I want few friends and few people around me. And those people, and for me, it's quality over quantity, right? I want quality people around me. So yeah, that's how I treat loneliness. It's not a loneliness. I might be using a wrong word, but yeah, loneliness in a way of solitude. Like Miyamoto Musashi, like I think every author like Franz Kafka and whatsoever, if you go and read their quotes about loneliness, they might say the same thing. I don't think there's ever a person who's a good author or an artist who says, that loneliness is bad. Yeah, at one point they might feel bad, they might feel alone. Like I do feel alone many times, especially when your friends and all, they are living a good life. I'm too living a very great life, constantly learning. That's a great life for me. But as a man, who wants to grow, as a man who wants to fucking grow, for him, it's quite, it's quite disturbing sometimes. Not disturbing, sorry, it's the wrong word, but quite saddening. When he sees others making progress in life while he is still fighting with his own fucked up demons, right? So, yeah, let me stretch a bit, but that's what, I'm here, right? I'm utilizing this time to learn about myself and not to be jealous for other people's success, and to be happy for them, and to be happy for them. That's what I've taken in this time, this alone time for myself as. So yeah, loneliness can be sickening sometimes, but it's a blessing in disguise if you change your perspective. And like guys like Miyamoto Musashi and many great philosophers and authors who has been lonely in life, they use like I fucking started writing, my whole life. I'm not good at writing, but whole life I didn't write, but I started writing, when I'm right now, like currently also in a state of solitude. And I learned so many things when I've lived my life alone with no friends and family, all by myself. So I think I'm still struggling. I'm not gonna lie, but as a man, you gotta struggle, man. You fucking gotta struggle, brother. You can't complain about stress and struggling every damn time. So I'm still struggling, and that's okay. I'll do fine, man. But anyways, take loneliness as that's all I can say. Like, take loneliness as a blessing. Learn from it, and of course, we all need friends and families around us. I'm not opposing that, but surround yourself with quality people, right? Fucking quality people. You know, don't get desperate too much. That's when things get wrong. When you get desperate too much. When you get desperate or you get anxious about other people's success and you're not making it, don't. Trust the timing of life. That's all I can say. While you're still hustling, that doesn't mean just sit and wait for time to come, right time to come. No, you go and you do your thing, whatever you need to do. If you want to do business, you do. If you can't start, at least you can research. So whatever you're doing it. So yeah, that's it for today.